What if the secret you whispered in the dark turned his gaze into a stranger's, cold, distant, judging? You bared your soul to stitch you closer, only to feel the thread snap, unraveling trust you didn't know could break. Society preaches that women should fling open every door. Total honesty, raw and unfiltered, is the glue of love. Wrong. Spill too much, and it's a spark to a dry field. Everything burns. Men and women don't decode the same. Your "let's connect" moment might land as his quiet panic, a splinter of insecurity, or a slow brewing grudge. Some words stick like scars. Some truths twist how he sees you, and there's no rewind. The Stoics had this cracked wide open. Epictetus, the street-tough sage, threw down, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Meaning, you don't have to spill your guts to prove your worth. Silence isn't a mask, it's armor, a sharp-edged choice. Real power in love isn't vomiting every thought, it's wielding deliberate mystery, holding your ground while he wonders what lies beneath. Oversharing doesn't earn you gold stars, it risks your throne. What stays buried? What slips could tilt your world off its axis? Today, we're carving out 5 things a woman should never lay bare to a man. Not to trick, but to guard her fire, lock in respect, and keep the bond fierce. If you're tired of bleeding out loud and ready to rule with enigma, like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic. Slam, I hold the reins in the comments and drop this. What's one secret you've learned to cage in a relationship? Let's unpack it. Let's claim it. Number 1. Never reveal too much about your past relationships. The ghosts he can't compete with. Sophia thought she was being open and honest when she told Daniel about her past relationships. She wasn't hiding anything. After all, what's the harm in sharing stories about exes? They were in the past, and Daniel was her present, her future. But as the weeks went on, she noticed subtle changes in him. He would ask about her ex's job, comparing it to his own. He made comments about how she used to travel more or how her ex took her to certain places. The warmth he once had started to cool, and a quiet sense of competition crept into their relationship. What went wrong? Men are wired for competition, not comparison. To understand why discussing past relationships can harm a current one, we need to look at male psychology and identity formation. Men are territorial by nature, not just physically, but emotionally. Evolutionary psychology explains that men are wired to protect what they see as theirs, not because they are insecure, but because their sense of identity and success is deeply tied to status, possession, and uniqueness. In a study by Dr. David Buss, an evolutionary psychologist, findings revealed that men experience jealousy differently than women. While women are more likely to feel threatened by emotional infidelity, men are far more disturbed by sexual history and comparison. The idea that another man once occupied the same space, physically and emotionally, creates an invisible rivalry that they can never truly win. It's not about immaturity, it's about male ego and identity. The silent battle, competing with ghosts. Here's the brutal truth. Men don't want to compete with ghosts. When you share intimate details about your past relationships, no matter how casually, you unknowingly introduce an opponent into his mind. One he can never truly defeat. Your exes are untouchable, frozen in time, only remembered for their best moments. A man can't argue with a memory. He can't outdo a past that only you control the narrative for. This creates a psychological paradox. No matter how much he loves you, part of him will wonder, was he better? The Stoics understood this dynamic well. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This is exactly what happens when a man hears too much about your past. His mind starts creating scenarios, amplifying insecurities, and imagining details far worse than reality. You might see sharing as honesty, he sees it as an unnecessary burden on his mind. A relationship is not a confessional booth. Women often believe that sharing everything builds trust, but in reality, selective silence builds security. You don't owe your partner a detailed history of every relationship, every mistake, or every heartbreak. Your past belongs to you, and your relationship should be built on who you are now, not where you've been. Imagine your love life as a beautiful painting. Each relationship from your past is a layer of paint beneath the surface. It shaped the final masterpiece, but no one needs to see the brushstrokes underneath. The painting is what matters now, in the present, not how many times the artist changed colors before arriving at the final piece. The balance between honesty and strategy. Does this mean you should lie? No. But there's a difference between withholding unnecessary information and being deceptive. Here's the approach that protects both you and your relationship. 1. Keep it vague and positive. If he asks, say, "I've learned a lot from my past, and it's helped me become who I am today." No need for details. 2. Never compare. Even if he asks, "Was your ex better at this?" Deflect. Say, "I don't compare because what we have is different and special." 3. Respect his need for uniqueness. Men need to feel like they are the only one in your world, even if they logically know you've had past relationships. Reassure him through actions, not stories about people who no longer matter. A practical example, how Sophia fixed it. Realizing her mistake, Sophia changed her approach. The next time Daniel asked about her past, she smiled and said, "Honestly, nothing before you feels important anymore. You're my present, and that's what I care about." She didn't erase her past, she just refused to let it have a place in their future. Slowly, Daniel stopped bringing up her exes. The competition faded. Their bond strengthened. Final thought, protect the present by leaving the past in the past. A man doesn't need to know every detail of your past to love you. In fact, knowing less often makes him love you more, because he sees you as his, not as a collection of past relationships. Mystery is power. You don't have to fabricate anything. You just have to remember that some things are better left unsaid. If you want to maintain his love, respect, and desire, don't make him compete with men who no longer exist in your life. Make him feel like he's the only one who matters, because in this moment, he is. Number 2. Never reveal too much about your finances. Protect your security and his role as a provider. Emma had always been independent. She had built her career from the ground up, made smart investments, and ensured her financial security. When she started dating Mark, she never thought money would be an issue. But one day, as they were discussing future plans, Mark casually asked, "By the way, how much do you have saved up?" Emma hesitated. She had never asked him about his bank balance, his assets, or his financial situation, because it wasn't relevant to her feelings for him. So why did he feel entitled to know hers? Men, money, and the role of the provider. Whether modern society acknowledges it or not, many men still take pride in being the provider in a relationship. Evolutionarily, this makes sense. Throughout history, a man's status and ability to attract a partner were linked to his ability to offer protection and financial stability. Even in today's world, studies in psychology confirm that men experience greater self-worth when they feel they are contributing financially to a relationship. This is why revealing too much about your wealth can disrupt the natural balance. If a man knows you are financially secure, it can lead to one of two problems. 1. It attracts the wrong men. Some men, consciously or unconsciously, are drawn to women who can support them, rather than the other way around. If you disclose too much too soon, you might never know whether he's with you for love or financial convenience. 2. It creates an ego conflict. Even if he loves you, knowing you have more financial power than he does can make him feel less needed, less masculine, and less in control of the relationship. The Stoic perspective: power lies in what you withhold. The Stoics believed that true power lies in what you choose not to reveal. As Epictetus said, if you wish to keep your peace, refrain from discussing your affairs with those who have no claim to them. Your finances are your business, and no one else's, especially not a man who hasn't yet proven himself worthy of that knowledge. By keeping your financial details private, you accomplish 3 things. You protect yourself from financial opportunists. If a man is genuinely interested in you, your net worth should be irrelevant. You allow the natural provider dynamic to flourish. A good man wants to feel like he is contributing, not like he is living in your financial shadow. You test his character. If he pushes for numbers, yet you never demand the same from him, that reveals more about his intentions than he might realize. If he asks, how should you respond? 1. Deflect with confidence. If he asks how much you make or how much you have, simply smile and say, "I manage my finances well, and I'm comfortable." That's all that matters. 2. Turn the question back on him. If he presses for a number, ask, "Why does that matter to you? I've never asked how much you make." Watch how he reacts. His answer will tell you everything you need to know. 3. Maintain financial independence. No matter how much you love someone, always have your own financial security. If a man is truly with you for the right reasons, he will never make your money the focus of the relationship. Emma's lesson: keeping power by keeping quiet. Emma realized that Mark's question wasn't just about curiosity, it was a test. If she had answered directly, she might never know if he valued her for who she was or for what she had. Instead, she replied with a simple, "I take care of myself, and that's all that matters." Over time, she observed his behavior. When he continued bringing up finances and subtly hinting at shared expenses too early, she saw the red flag for what it was. Final thought: protect your security, protect your worth. A woman's finances should never be the foundation of a relationship. By keeping this information private, you ensure that a man loves you for who you are, not what you have. If he's the right man, he won't care how much money you make. If he's the wrong man, that information will change how he treats you. So before you disclose your financial situation, ask yourself, does he love me, or does he love the security I provide? Because the only real security you need is the kind that comes from knowing you are valued for more than just numbers in a bank account. Number 3. Never share all your passwords and personal privacy. Trust doesn't mean total access. Isabella loved Noah, and she trusted him completely. So when he casually asked for her phone password one evening, she didn't hesitate to give it to him. I have nothing to hide, she thought. Over time, he started checking her messages, scrolling through her social media, and even opening her emails, always under the guise of just curious, or it's not a big deal, right? But soon, curiosity turned into expectation. If she ever hesitated to hand over her phone, he would ask, "Why? Do you have something to hide?" The relationship that once felt free and full of love now felt like a quiet surveillance state. What Isabella didn't realize at first, but learned the hard way, is that trust and transparency are not the same thing. Privacy and trust, the fine line that shouldn't be crossed. Many people believe that if you love someone, you should have nothing to hide. But this is a false narrative. A healthy relationship is built on mutual trust, not mutual surveillance. When one partner has full access to the other's phone, emails, and private accounts, it doesn't prove love. It creates an imbalance of power and a loss of individuality. Psychologists call this boundary erosion, the slow, unnoticed process where privacy is stripped away under the guise of closeness. Dr. Alexandra Solomon, a psychologist specializing in intimate relationships, explains that boundaries are not walls. They are the framework that keeps relationships healthy. When you give up all privacy in a relationship, you don't gain intimacy, you lose autonomy. The male perspective. Why some men demand full access. Some men equate control with security. They believe that if they have full access to your digital life, they can ensure loyalty. This mindset isn't always rooted in malice. Often it comes from insecurity, past betrayals, or societal conditioning that equates closeness with access. But no matter the reason, when a relationship crosses the line into constant monitoring, it stops being about trust and starts being about power. The Stoic approach: control what you own. The Stoics believe that what belongs to you should be protected, and personal space is sacred. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If you allow yourself to be controlled, over time, you internalize the idea that you must always justify yourself, even when you've done nothing wrong. Protecting your privacy isn't secrecy, it's self-respect. Just as you wouldn't allow someone to dictate your thoughts, you shouldn't allow anyone, no matter how much you love them, to dictate your personal boundaries. How to keep privacy without creating suspicion. 1. Set boundaries early. From the beginning of a relationship, make it clear that while you value trust, you also value privacy. This way, it never becomes an issue later. 2. Explain your reasoning calmly. If he asks for your passwords, say, "It's not about secrecy, it's about maintaining healthy boundaries. I trust you, and I need you to trust me too." 3. Flip the question. If he insists that couples should share everything, ask, "Would you feel comfortable giving me access to everything you do and say? If not, why?" This often forces people to see the issue from another perspective. 4. Have a personal, locked space. Whether it's a journal, a password-protected folder, or a separate bank account, keep something that is yours alone. This is not deception. It's a way to maintain independence. What Isabella learned: love doesn't mean losing yourself. Over time, Isabella realized that she wasn't proving love by giving up privacy. She was proving submission. She changed her approach. When Noah asked for access to her phone, she simply said, "I don't go through your private things, and I expect the same in return." At first he resisted, but when he saw that she wasn't hiding anything, he backed off. Their relationship became stronger, not because they shared everything, but because they respected each other's personal space. Final thought: privacy is a form of power. Love does not require constant validation through full access. A strong relationship is built on trust, not transparency. If someone demands to know everything about you, it's not a sign of closeness, it's a sign of control. So before you hand over your passwords, ask yourself, would he still trust me if he didn't have access? Because if the answer is no, then trust was never there to begin with. Number 4, never expose all your weaknesses and insecurities. Strength commands respect. Lena had always believed that vulnerability was the key to deep connections. So, when she started dating Adam, she didn't hold back. She told him about her fears, how she was afraid of being alone, how she sometimes doubted her worth, how she had been hurt before. At first, Adam was compassionate, reassuring her that she was safe with him. But over time, she noticed a shift. Instead of seeing her as the confident, independent woman he had fallen for, he began treating her like someone who needed to be fixed. Worse, she started feeling like she needed him more than she actually did. Lena's mistake wasn't being honest, it was giving away too much, too soon. Why men respect strength more than vulnerability. Despite modern conversations about emotional openness, men are naturally wired to respect and desire strength in a woman. This doesn't mean you have to be cold or emotionless. It means you should never allow your fears to define your identity in his eyes. Psychologists explain that men are problem solvers by nature. When you expose all your insecurities, a good man will instinctively feel like he must fix you. But over time, this can create exhaustion, resentment, or even attraction loss. A man does not want to feel like your therapist. He wants to feel like your partner. Furthermore, not all men are good men. Some will use your vulnerabilities as a tool of control. If you tell a manipulative man that you're afraid of being alone, he might subtly use that against you, making you feel that leaving him isn't an option. If you admit that you feel unworthy, he might start treating you like you should be grateful just to have him. This is how power imbalances are created, not in grand betrayals, but in quiet manipulations of insecurity. The Stoic perspective. Guard your inner fortress. The Stoics believe that your emotions belong to you and should never be given freely to others without caution. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your insecurities are private, not public property. Sharing them should be earned, not given freely. You don't owe any man instant access to your deepest fears and doubts, just because you are in a relationship. How to share without losing power. 1. Selectively reveal, don't unload. It's natural to share feelings in a relationship, but pace yourself. Let him see layers of you over time, not all at once. 2. Show him strength before you show him weakness. A man who sees you as powerful will value your moments of vulnerability more, because they will feel rare and significant. 3. Observe how he reacts. Before revealing deep insecurities, test how he handles smaller emotional moments. Does he support you or use it against you later? Lena's lesson: earning the right to see vulnerability. After realizing her mistake, Lena changed her approach. She stopped over-explaining her fears and instead let her actions show her confidence. She shared selectively, giving Adam pieces of her emotions rather than a full breakdown of her inner struggles. As a result, his respect and attraction for her grew again. He saw her as a strong woman who sometimes needed support, not as a weak woman who needed saving. Final thought: let him earn your softness. Vulnerability is not weakness, but it should be given with wisdom, not abandon. The man who deserves to see your deepest insecurities is the man who has already proven he will never use them against you. Never forget, a woman who owns her emotions owns her power. Number 5. Don't reveal all your future plans too soon. Let him discover you over time. Mia had always been a planner. She knew exactly what she wanted in life: a stable career, marriage by 30, 2 kids, and a house with a garden. So when she met Jake, a charming and ambitious man who seemed to check all the boxes, she saw no reason to hold back. Over dinner on their third date, she eagerly laid out her vision, where she wanted to live, how many children she planned to have, even the type of schools she preferred. Jake listened attentively, nodding at all the right moments, but something shifted after that night. He started pulling away, responding to texts less frequently, and soon their budding relationship faded into nothing. Mia was confused. She thought she was being honest and upfront. What went wrong? Why men feel trapped by too much information? Too soon. Most women naturally plan for the future. They think long-term, considering the trajectory of their relationships, careers, and family lives. This isn't just personal preference, it's biological. Studies in evolutionary psychology show that women are wired to seek stability and long-term security, whereas men are more focused on present challenges and short-term success. This difference in perspective creates an imbalance when women reveal too much too soon. If a man is still in the early stages of getting to know you and suddenly hears an entire life blueprint, including where you expect him to fit into it, it can trigger an instinctive fight or flight response. 1. He may feel pressured before he's emotionally invested. Imagine walking into a new job, and on the first day, your boss sits you down and explains every detail of your next 5 years at the company. Where you'll be promoted, what projects you'll lead, even the exact date you'll relocate for a different office. Instead of feeling excited, you'd likely feel trapped. This is exactly how men feel when women lay out their entire future vision too soon. If he's still in the phase of enjoying the connection, assessing compatibility, and discovering who you are, dumping your life roadmap on him can make him feel like he's being assigned a role he didn't sign up for yet. 2. He might say yes just to please you, then resent it later. Some men, especially those who are naturally agreeable or don't like conflict, might nod along and agree with your vision, only to later realize they don't actually want the same things. This creates a false sense of alignment, where he feels pressured to go along with your expectations rather than making an independent choice. Over time, this forced agreement breeds resentment, leading to avoidance, emotional withdrawal, or even dishonesty. 3. Mystery and discovery. Keep a relationship exciting. One of the most overlooked aspects of attraction is the power of discovery. People value what they uncover gradually more than what is handed to them all at once. In psychology, this is known as the curiosity gap. When people learn information piece by piece, they stay engaged longer and value it more. By revealing everything about your future plans too soon, you eliminate the excitement of discovery. Instead of letting him naturally grow into the idea of a shared future, you hand him a manual and expect him to read it in one sitting. The Stoic perspective: control what you reveal. Stoicism teaches that patience and measured action lead to better outcomes. As Epictetus said, first, learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak. In other words, timing and delivery matter just as much as the message itself. Your dreams, ambitions, and future plans are valuable pieces of who you are, but they should be revealed strategically, not impulsively. There's a difference between being honest and being overwhelming. How to talk about the future without overloading him. 1. Let things unfold naturally. Instead of forcing future discussions, observe how he reacts to small hints. Does he ask about your goals? Does he bring up long-term topics himself? Let the conversation evolve organically rather than delivering it all at once. 2. Test compatibility before making assumptions. Just because a man seems great in the early stages doesn't mean he's automatically the right fit for your future. Take time to see if his values, habits, and lifestyle align with yours before assuming he belongs in your plan. 3. Talk about principles, not logistics. Instead of saying, I want to be married in 2 years and have 3 kids by 35, say, I really value commitment and family life. What's your perspective on that? This opens a conversation without making it feel like an interrogation. 4. Let him contribute to the vision. A relationship should feel like a shared journey, not a script he has to follow. Instead of presenting your entire plan, allow him to be part of shaping it with you. Mia's lesson: the power of patience. After her experience with Jake, Mia realized she had been treating relationships like a project with fixed deadlines, rather than an evolving connection. When she started dating again, she held back on discussing long-term details until she saw clear signs of emotional investment. Instead of listing out her entire vision, she focused on enjoying the present, learning about her partner's values, and letting their relationship grow organically. To her surprise, this approach made men more interested, not less. They started asking her about the future, wanting to know where she saw herself, rather than her being the one to push the conversation. When she finally did open up about her plans, it felt like a natural progression, not an obligation. Final thought. Let him invest in the journey. A relationship is not a contract negotiation. It's an unfolding story. A man should feel intrigued, inspired, and excited to build a future with you, not pressured or assigned a role too soon. When you reveal too much, too quickly, you remove the sense of choice. And in relationships, choice is everything. So before you lay out your entire vision, ask yourself, does he even belong in this picture yet? Because if he's the right man, he won't need a roadmap. He'll be eager to build the future with you, one step at a time. Conclusion: the power of what you withhold. In a world that glorifies over-disclosure, the smartest women understand that mystery is power. Not because deception is necessary, but because not everything needs to be shared to build a deep, meaningful relationship. The Stoics knew this well. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Know what you control and what you do not. Power comes from discipline over what you reveal." A woman who controls her narrative, who knows when to speak and when to hold back, commands more respect, more desire, and ultimately more security in her relationships. Love thrives not in endless transparency, but in respectful boundaries, in the quiet knowledge that you are more than what you choose to reveal. What every woman should keep to herself: your full relationship history. Let the past stay in the past. He doesn't need to compete with ghosts. Your deepest insecurities. Not every man deserves access to your vulnerabilities. Your financial details, your security is yours too. Protect. Never let money shift the power balance. Your future plans too soon. Let him invest in discovering your vision over time. Your complete access. Privacy is a form of self-respect. Trust doesn't require total transparency. A strong relationship isn't built on knowing everything. It's built on trusting what truly matters. If a man respects you, he won't demand to know every detail of your past, your thoughts, your money, or your plans. Instead, he will earn the right to be let in, piece by piece, as trust is built organically, not forced. If this message resonates with you, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to Victory Stoic for more insights on love, power, and personal mastery. In the comments, type, "I choose power," if you believe that women should keep certain things private to maintain their value. And share your story. What's one thing you wish you had kept to yourself in a past relationship? Let's continue the conversation.